Okay, so welcome back to lesson two of our web series. In our previous lesson, we began introduction to HTML web page. Um, we were able to create a small skeleton of an HTML page. We began by declaring the document type as HTML. Then we open the HTML element. From there, we said that the HTML document is made up of two main parts, the head and the body. The head, as we saw, contains the title of the HTML part. Let's liken it to the human that has the head and the rest of the body. The head seems to control the rest of the body due to the things that it has. We will get to know them as we move on. The body of an HTML document actually is anything that you see when you visit a web page. Anything visible on the screen is within the body. For example, let's look at Google homepage. As you can see here, Google is in the title bar, which means that is the title the developers put in the title element in the header, in the head. Yeah. Then the whole of the screen we see down here, the white with Google logo with a search input box. Everything is within the body of the HTML page. Okay, so today's lesson we're looking at one wonderful element in HTML building. We look at the div element. Okay, the div element of HTML is just a way of dividing the HTML page into various sections. So you can call it a division element or a divider. I mean, it actually can contain any other element. The div element can contain any other element. If you remember from our definition, we said an element is an HTML concept which has a beginning tag and an ending tag with an enclosing content. The content can also be another element. If that happens, then the outer element becomes the parent. So for example, if we have another div inside this div, then this div is the parent and this div is the child. Suppose we have another div inside the parent. Then we can say this is a parent div, this is a child div, this is a child div. So these two divs are children to this div. We can also say that these two divs are siblings to each other. A div is used for dividing the HTML page into pieces or sections or segments. So you can apply a styling, insert a content, an image, or whatever you want to do on the page. We can have lots of this on the same page. And you can style, that is, you can beautify, you can decorate each div the way you want. So let's look at what we have here. Section A. Section B. Now we have a parent div, we have a child div section A, we have another child div section B. With this, let's take a look at how the browser will translate this. Okay, so we open up. Okay, as you can see from our HTML document, there is an H1 that reads hello world. Below that, we have a div which contains two other divs. Now, back to the preview. This is the H1 hello world, and this is div A and this div B. Now, let me show you something. Right click anywhere on the page, go down and select inspect. We want to see the HTML code behind this page. Okay, so when you click on inspect, you have a new menu open below here that has the content of the HTML that make up this page under elements. There are other tabs like console, sources, network, memory, performance, and so forth and so on. But we will mainly concentrate on elements for now. As we move on, we will come and look at what the console does and the network. But for now, let's look at the element. The element actually prints out whatever is in the HTML document. So you can do that to any website that you visit to see the HTML content in there. For example, let's hit Google and see the elements there. Okay, let me open it up a bit. Voila. As you can see, this is Google's homepage, and they also define the document type here. Then open the HTML tag here. This is the closing of the HTML tag. Then they open the head tag and close it here. Now, when I click on this, you see more content or elements within the head tag. So we call them children tag of the head tag. There's something called meta tag, which define the text type or the language type that the browser should prepare for. Now, as I said earlier on, the title that appears here must be within the title tag. So as you can see here, title. Now you can see there's a link which has something we will talk about it along our lesson. We have another guy called script. We will also talk about him. So basically link and script and then meta are the main children element in this head. Now we move on to the body, and the body has a lot of attributes or properties. Inside the body, there's a star element here, there's a div. Yeah, as you can see, Google has a div with a class and a data element. There is another div within this div. Oh, it's not just one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 div within the first div. Now, let me close up a bit. As you can see, as I hover over the body, the whole screen is dimmed. Now let me move a bit to this div. You can see that on the screen, if I move away to go away, so that is why. So don't worry. On the screen is dimmed with markings all over. Now the markings indicates the children div within this div. Don't worry if you don't see the same thing on your browser. Not every browser does that. But the highlighting or the dim screen, definitely your browser should do that for you. If not, you can get Google Chrome browser and then you can have same experience. Now let me move to hover the first div. Now when I hovered on the first div, you can see it is the topmost section of the page where we have the user's icon, the Google, I'm referring to this when you want to use an app from Google. Yeah, so the app launcher, the app launcher, this is my icon and other things that you can quickly open. So this is that div. Now we move to the next div and it contains, or let me close the launcher. The next div and it contains the Google logo. Then let's move on. Okay, so the search section also is in one div, and then the footer is in another div. So basically, the div is used for dividing the web page into sections.